Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Chang. I am the coordinator for the Environmental Control Technology Department at Laney College in Oakland, California. Welcome to today's webinar titled HVAC and Building Technician Credentialing. This is our second webinar. The last one we hosted back in June was focused on basics of HVAC program accreditation. So if you're interested in seeing that one, it is available on YouTube. All right, quickly here, you'll see from our first slide here a roster of our presenters. They include Dana Anneman from North American Technician Excellence, Renee Tomlinson of HVAC Excellence, followed by Ed Pravat from the National Center for Construction, Education, and Research. He will be followed by Dr. Al Kohler from the National Resource Center for Aerospace Technical Education, otherwise known as SpaceTEC. And our final presenter will be Vanessa Santos of the United States Green Building Council. And before we get into their presentations, I just want to quickly review a couple of things here and give you some background info. All right, for those of you who might not be familiar with Laney College, we're on the east side of San Francisco Bay. We're one of 4 community colleges that are part of the Peralta Community College District. Laney has numerous CTE programs, and our Environmental Controls Technology Department offers certificates and degrees in, as you can see, residential light commercial HVAC, commercial HVAC. Last summer we started a new program in building automation. Currently, we have a new commercial energy management program in development. We've worked closely with our local high school green academies to introduce high school students to issues of building science and energy efficiency. And currently, we're working under a National Science Foundation grant to help support a variety of activities. We also have a number of green job training certificates. These are short, usually 1 semester intensive certificates in energy efficiency and solar design and sales. And finally, our carpentry and architecture departments also offer courses in green building and sustainable design. And also, I'm very proud to unveil our new website. We hope that it will be a tremendous resource for both students and instructors alike. These are just a couple of screenshots from the new website. You can see the URL at the bottom, and that is bestcte.org. And again, the site is focused on building-related energy efficiency. So you'll see that we have a page that will be devoted to job hunters, and then also events such as today's webinar. Also, we'll have a section devoted to lab layout, specs, and photos. You'll see the Laney lab, our HVAC lab to the left, and then also a variety of research reports and PowerPoint presentations that will be available for download. However, you do need to be registered as a member of that website. So, we really encourage you all to do that. And we hope you'll make good use of it. All right. So, looking at today's webinar, what's motivating this and why are certifications important in terms of the development of knowledge, skills, and abilities for building technicians? You can see, hopefully, that our buildings really are becoming very, very complex. They're being driven by new technological innovations in lighting, things like variable frequency drive and variable air volume. And as our buildings get more complex and quote-unquote smarter, if you will, that also means that the technicians who need to operate these buildings also need to meet the demands of that technology to make sure that it's performing properly. So you can see that, again, technicians really need to be prepared to deal with a number of building systems. Besides HVAC, we're looking at lighting controls, fire and life safety, and indoor air quality. And besides maintenance and repair, technicians are really becoming spokespersons for both improving the health, energy conservation, and financial savings of our various buildings. Our Environment Control Technology Department commissioned a report that was completed by the Building Intelligence Group. It is something you can download from the new website I just mentioned. The report's title, Current Situation and Trends in Buildings and Facility Operations. All right, and what we found in that report is that the competencies of building technicians have really evolved quite significantly. Ideally, a technician really needs to become more of a systems thinker, really thinking holistically about buildings and their various systems and components. They'll be gathering and analyzing data to make very critical decisions in building operations. And again, both communication and computer skills are really becoming essential just for the day-to-day work. Below, you'll also see some sample program learning outcomes. We'll see that, for instance, if we look at the Sustainable Facilities Operations program at Milwaukee Area Technical College, right? These are just some of the learning outcomes listed for that particular program, and they really are a very kind of aspiring array of goals from energy audits and then looking budgets, registering and implementing a lead project, and also commissioning projects and building systems. So just to help frame today's discussion, I want to throw out some possible questions that we might discuss at the end of the presentations. And you can see these 6 here. Right? What are the critical KSAs, those knowledge, skills, and abilities that would be essential for a high-performance building technician? Are green building and energy management issues having a growing impact on these KSAs? How does a technician acquire these KSAs, both in terms of formal training, say at a community college versus on-the-job skills development? Next, what are some methods of assessment, whether it's a multiple choice exam or performance-based exam, which are most relevant for what we're trying to assess? Next, what is the role of continuing education and how should certification be renewed? And then finally, should some level of certification or examination be legally required similar to other professions? So again, just keep some of these in mind as we move through the presentation, and feel free to go ahead and type questions as they come to you, send them to me, and we'll try to cover as many as we can. So without further ado, I would like to just go ahead and move forward. If you have questions later about Laney and its programs, here's a slide with our contact info, both for the department chair, Nick Kiricopetti, as well as myself. All right, let's move into our first presentation. And our speaker here is Dana Anneman, who is the Marketing and Communications and Recertification Specialist at NATE. So, Dana, you have the floor.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today I want to speak to you about the value of NATE certification. Next slide. Okay, so North American Technician Excellence, otherwise known as NATE, is the leading certification program for technicians in the HVAC industry. The test is supported by the entire industry. NATE was founded in 1997 and is the only technician certification organization that is also governed, owned, operated, developed, and supported by the HVAC industry. And it was started by the manufacturers to help curb improper installation of equipment. Next slide. We have also recently achieved ANSI accreditation. This is a prestigious accreditation that verifies that NATE conforms to the standards of ANSI, ISO, EIC 17024. We meet the general requirements for bodies operating certification systems of persons, and this is a third-party accreditation which will help further elevate NATE in the HVAC industry. It confirms that the organization follows detailed, high-quality testing processes and the results of exams are valid, reliable, and defensible. NATE, we have a technical committee who reviews all the questions, and each question that appears on our exams, you have an 80% chance of encountering once in the field per year. Next slide. As of today, we offer 22 tests, including the Senior Efficiency Analyst exam. We currently have 30,600 plus certified technicians who hold approximately 36,900 credentials, and we're located in all 50 states. It's a nationwide certification. We have also to date administered 196,600 tests to approximately 73,000 individuals. Next slide. Okay. To become NATE certified, a technician must pass 2 exams. We have a core test. That is a 50-question exam. We offer 2 paths of certification, either in installation or in service. The core test is a test that will test a candidate's general knowledge, construction knowledge, HVACR specific knowledge in the areas of safety tools, basic construction, and electrical. And then we have the specialty exam, which we offer that as well in installation or in service. And we ask that if you take, once you pick your path, everything should match up. So if you take a core in installation, then you should take your specialty in installation. And if you take your core in service, then you should take your specialty in service. And to become certified, if you take the service certification, installation is included in that. The specialty test is also 100 questions in length. Okay, next slide. Recommendations for testing. NATE doesn't offer, there's no educational or work experience requirements, yet we do recommend that you have some formal training, either by an employer or a technical school or other educational institutions before you take your NATE exam. We recommend if you're going to sit for an installation exam, you've been in the industry for at least a year. And if you sit for a service exam, it would be at least 2 years, and for our efficiency analyst, the senior level technician exam, that you are in the industry for at least 5 years. Next slide. Again, I said we had 22 different exams. Here's just the list of our exams. And again, on the left-hand side, it's the core service and the service specialties, and on the right-hand side, we have installation. And it's written like this because so you can see that if you take a service specialty, installation is also included in that certification. So just to highlight a couple, you have heat pumps, gas furnace, oil hydronics, air conditioning service. If you also take our heat pump exam, air conditioning is included in that certification. Next slide. When we also have light commercial refrigeration, and our newest exam was the ground source heat pump loop installer exam. Next slide. Okay. So a lot of times when you're thinking about wanting to take the NATE exam, you want to know how you should prepare for it. NATE does not provide or produce any study material. Our partners do provide this information. And we can't recommend or specifically endorse materials, but the way that we get our information is from technicians who have taken and passed the test, and they tell us, which which study materials they used and which they found was of great help to them. But we do have a list on our website of people who do produce study material, and for a complete list, you can visit natex.org/study. And I just listed some here. Some of our partners are ACCA, RSES, EHCC, and IHACE. And we also have some online educational facilities like HVACEducation.net. Next slide. Okay. Again, to achieve certification, you have to take both exams. You will not be certified until you complete both exams. You have a 2-year window to complete the certification process. So today, if you want to take the core, you have 2 years before you take the special. You have a 2-year window to take the specialty to become certified. And once you're certified, your certification is good for 5 years, and it has to be renewed by the end of the 5-year expiration. And you can do that in 2 ways. You can either retest in your specialty before the expiration, or you can submit 60 hours of continuing education. We really do like to focus on continuing education. We also offer NATE recognized courses. These are courses that have already gone through our system, and they already have a certain number of hours allotted to them. If you go to the course, you fill out an attendance sheet, and then the instructor sends it to us, and we upload that to your record so you can know how many hours you have on file. You can also use any NATE recognized courses. Again, if you have a state license that you have to get continuing education for, those courses can count. We just need you to keep proof of your attendance. Next slide. Okay. NATE certification benefits. Again, we say that the benefits of NATE certification are extensive and they positively impact many groups. For contractors, they prefer NATE certified technicians because they remain in the industry longer, know how to do the job right the first time. Just gives them a peace of mind that when they're sending this technician out in the field, he knows what he's doing. Manufacturing distributors, they support it, and there's benefits because NATE certification encourages proper installation and servicing, which means fewer warranty returns and ultimately a better bottom line. Educators and trainers, they can benefit from the certification because of the uniform testing standards. Utilities, they appreciate NATE certification because it focuses on properly installing the equipment and services, which again would save energy and money when your equipment is operating at peak efficiency. And consumers, they appreciate NATE certification and the benefits from it because it ensures that you have a knowledgeable, well-trained, highly experienced technician when they're coming into their house. Okay, next slide, NATE focus. So of course, NATE's mission, again, we want to focus on quality system installation, training, education to do the job right, enhance system performance through professional maintenance, improve customer satisfaction, again, no callbacks, doing it right the first time, energy savings, everyone wants to have things properly installed, so it's lower cost to them. Commitment to long-term environmental sustainability, and then we like to link consumers with contractors who employ the NATE certified technician. And we also have a website that does that, HVACEradvice.com. Next slide. The value of NATE to the technicians, and you can go to the next slide. So the certification, it belongs to the individual technician. It's your proof. It's your badge of merit. When you become certified, you've proven that you have the HVACR skills and knowledge. You're preferred among the consumers, and you're considered more valuable to your employer, and you can earn higher salaries on average. And there's a picture of the NATE patch in the lower left-hand corner. Okay, next slide. The value of NATE to the contractor, and next slide. Again, contractors, they've had some thoughts on this and says the knowledge that technicians have attained verifiable skill levels and proficiencies, better company reputation, an example, proven technicians made a better experience for customers and greater word of mouth. Again, you're sending out your employee who knows what he's doing, so you have a better peace of mind as well that he's going to do the job right the first time and you don't have to keep sending him back and forth. And showing customers that you're affiliated with a credible organization. Patch merit. Next slide. And this is a some research that we did, the importance of technician certification to contractors, and the purple part, 75% of the contractors agreed that technician certification was important to them, 7% disagreed, and 18% were neutral. Next slide. The value of NATE to the consumer. Next slide. So we asked, this is the American Home Comfort Study, and we asked about 30,500 homeowners, how important is the company that you use, employ technicians who are independently certified. And that's next slide, please. Okay, and again, here you can see that the homeowners, about 52% said it was very important, 38% said somewhat, 6% not at all, and 5% said do not know. Next slide. And this slide just shows that the homeowners who did use a NATE certified technician, how they felt on if they would use one again or not. And they 53% said they definitely would use again, 47% they were confident of their quality, 47% were confident of the follow-up, 36% got the highest quality, 10% expected more, and 4% they decided that certification didn't matter on any level. Okay, next slide. So what's in it for you? What's in it for me? 88% of consumers want a certified technician to work on their heating and cooling system. So that could affect your employer. If someone calls up and asks for a NATE certified technician and you're not certified, that could be something that would hold you back from going on to that call. And it's a positive way to market yourself during employment. It's a way to set yourself apart from others without certification and prove your knowledge within the field. So we focus on pride, proficiency, and professionalism. And the next slide. Okay. And to find out more information on NATE certification today, you can visit www.natex.org. And NATE does not provide the testing, but you can find a local testing organization or training organization. And the links are listed below, www.natex.org/test or natex.org/train. And you can access both of those links from our homepage as well. Next slide. Certifying the finest. And then the final slide is my contact information if you have any questions or if you need to go back over anything. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dana. Next, I'd like to introduce Renee Tomlinson, who is the Director of Strategic Partnerships for HVAC Excellence and the ESCO Group.
Thank you, Larry. I'll give it a second here. I'll wait for the presentation to load up. There it is. And Larry, I wanted to go ahead and take this opportunity to thank you for hosting these series of webinars. I do believe that it's a great service to the industry that you're providing and to our educators. So giving them the opportunity to find out all of the different services that are available to them is certainly something that is beneficial. So thank you for hosting these, and thank you for inviting us.
Well, my thanks go out to all of the presenters. So we'll take it away.
Thank you. As Larry had already mentioned, my name is Renee Tomlinson, and I am the Director of Strategic Partnerships for the ESCO Group. Next slide, please. The three main things we're going to discuss today is we're going to talk a little bit about who is HVAC Excellence, why industry certification is important, and the types and levels of HVAC Excellence certification. Next slide, please. So for anyone who's not familiar with HVAC Excellence, HVAC Excellence was founded as a non-for-profit organization in 1994 to improve the technical workforce of the HVAC industry through quality education. Next slide, please. HVAC Excellence is an affiliate of the ESCO Group. The ESCO Group is dedicated to leading career and technical education into the 21st century. Each organization that's part of the ESCO group serves the HVACR and skilled trade industries to further enhance and raise the bar of technical education through standard development, professional certification, programmatic accreditation, and curriculum development and publishing. The group collectively sponsors the National Educators and Trainers Conference, which offers continuing education to educators and trainers in the industry. So we are a part of all of the groups listed here, the ESCO Institute, HVAC Excellence, COSA, the ACNR Safety Coalition, and ESCO Press International. Next slide, please. HVAC Excellence does more than just providing certification. We offer progressive levels of certification, but in addition to that, we also offer educator credentialing, programmatic accreditation, and professional development. Next slide, please. So why is industry certification important? Dana in her presentation had probably already touched on a number of these things, and regardless of what type of certification you're selecting to use, the purpose and reason for certification remains the same. The certification aids career and technical vocational programs to identify strengths and weaknesses. One of the key things that the HVAC Excellence certification does is provides educators with reports on how students, and assessment reports on how their students are performing based on their curriculum. So programs are able to adjust curriculums to strengthen them in the areas that they may not already be covering. Certification assists manufacturers in reducing warranty costs. Certification identifies the scope and level of technician competency, assuring contractors that of a skilled workforce, and assuring consumers that they're receiving quality service. And more importantly, it provides a logical progression for technicians, allowing them the opportunity to advance in their career. Next slide, please. HVAC Excellence has certified over 120,000 and is growing daily. Next slide, please. Certification aids in identifying the scope and level of an individual's competency. However, a single certification cannot be used to identify the competency of students, new technicians, seasoned professionals, and educators and trainers. Next slide. Next slide, please.
Okay.
We need to identify competencies of technicians throughout their career. Educators, experienced technicians, and students should take different level exams to identify their skills. Next slide, please. HVAC Excellence offers progressive levels of certification. There's nearly 50 certifications that we offer. We have specialty certifications. Certifications are affordably priced, and we offer both written and performance or hands-on certification. Next slide, please. Student assessments. We strongly believe that students are not technicians and are not tested at should not be tested at the same level that technicians are. We do not allow students to take our technician level certification exams. Next slide. We have a high school level assessment called our HEAT, or Heating, Electrical, Air Conditioning Technology. Again, this is demonstrating that high school students have the retained knowledge to advance to the next stage in their career. Next slide, please. We also offer the next level of our certification is our Employment Ready certification. This certification is focused for persons attending post-secondary programs through community college, technical college, JATC, or if they're new to the industry, they can assess their skills through this certification. Next slide, please. On this slide, you will see all the different categories of certification that we have ready through our employment ready level. I'm not going to mention each one individually, but you can see that there are a good variety of topics in this level of certification. Give everybody a second to look at that. Go ahead, next slide, please. HVAC Excellence also offers a professional level of certification, or what could be considered the technician level certification. At this level, we have two forms of testing technicians. We have both a written and a hands-on or performance exam. Next slide, please. The professional level or technician certification is earned by passing a series of comprehensive written examinations. We do require 2 years of field experience, and it has to be verifiable field experience. We do require participants to fill out an employment form, and all that information is verified before someone can be granted their certification. Next slide, please. Our professional level technician certifications, we also have a core exam. Our core exam is actually 100 questions and covers the principles of electricity and refrigeration theory. And in addition to the core exam, you would pick from one of the specialties listed here on this page: residential air conditioning, light commercial air conditioning, light commercial refrigeration, heat pump service, installer, gas heat, electric heat, oil heat, and the residential and light commercial low pressure hydronic heat. Next slide, please. We also offer specialty level certifications. At this level, it is not required for an individual to take the core exam. We do also basically lift the requirement for the 2 years of field experience for these certifications because it's not always necessary. Some of our specialty level certifications include our carbon monoxide, our combustion analysis, and green awareness certifications. In addition, some new certifications that we've just recently added to our lineup include our residential load analyst, which is a heat loss, heat gain certification, system design analyst, and our system performance analyst. So going back to some of the thought-provoking questions that Larry had presented earlier on for everyone to think about, as far as the high building performance and the knowledge, skills, and abilities for technicians getting into this more complex and energy efficient world, we have designed our system design analyst and our system performance analyst certifications. System performance basically focuses on 4 main areas, including psychrometrics, combustion, critical charge, and airflow. Those are our subject matter experts have found that those are the 4 main areas that highly affect system efficiency, especially, of course, in new installations, but moreover in existing homes. So those 4 main areas are covered with our system performance analyst. Next slide, please. HVAC Excellence also offers a Master Specialist certification, and that is the highest credential that can be conferred upon a field technician. Next slide, please. The prerequisite to participating in this certification is one must have 3 years of field experience and must have obtained our written certification for the professional level technician certification. So the certifications we were just referring to, the written test, this is the performance exam, and it requires 3 years of field experience. Next slide, please. The Master Specialist certification is available for residential air conditioning, gas heat, oil heat, heat pumps, light commercial air conditioning, light commercial refrigeration, low pressure hydronic heat, and combustion analysis. Next slide, please. HVAC Excellence also offers educator credentials. The instructor credentialing validates the mastery of the subject matter required to prepare students for success in an ever-changing industry. Next slide. The educator credentials, or what we call our CMHE, covers, there is a core exam, and that is the CAPS, or what we also call our capstone exam. Air conditioning, gas heat, heat pumps, electrical, light commercial air conditioning, light commercial refrigeration, electric heat, and oil heat. Passing scores on these examinations are at a higher level. One has to actually obtain a score of 80% or better in order to pass, and you do have to pass six of the specialty areas as in addition to the capstone in order to actually achieve your certification. Next slide, please. The Certified Master HVACR Educator, or again CMHE, is the highest credential that can be conferred upon an HVACR educator. You'll see in the picture there, those are some of our new CMHEs that were honored at our annual conference just a couple of weeks ago. Next slide, please. So just as a recap of basically what we do here at HVAC Excellence is we have progressive levels of certification, we offer educator credentialing, we provide programmatic accreditation, and we also offer professional development. Next slide. For anyone wishing to contact me with any questions, you can reach me my phone number and my email address. If you want to go on to the last slide there, Larry. And this is the information for the ESCO group, our website, and our social media links. And with that, I will conclude my presentation, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Renee. Next on our list, we have Ed Pravat, who is the Director of Workforce Development at NCCER, and Ed was one of our presenters during our first webinar regarding program accreditation, as was also HVAC Excellence. So, Ed, I want to welcome you again.
Thank you, Larry.
And it's all yours.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I just want to talk about a couple of the things that we can provide as far as credentialing. Of course, we do it a little differently than some of the others. We have curricula that supports our credentialing. The curricula, it's all written by subject matter experts. It's industry-driven curricula written by industry for industry. We are also a provider, recognized training provider for the NAEP program as well. So if you'll go through the slides with me, Larry, I'd appreciate it. So I'm just going to talk about NCCER a little bit, what we do with the industry, career and technical in the industry. some of the resources we have, credentialing, critical partnerships, and very quickly some Perkins funding standards. Next, if you will. Thank you. And then, a big one for us is not only certifications, but the training process. So, I'll talk about why we train, and in our industry, we certify about 65 different crafts. I'll talk about education and industry, employment and credentials, and then NCCER being the standard for the construction industry and how to get involved. Next, please, Larry. And so these are the things that that we're concerned with as a training and a credentialing body. And my job is to, as workforce development director, is getting folks into our industry, getting the trained workforce that we need within our industry. And so, I wear two hats. I want the best and brightest in our industry, but I also want to give that great opportunity for young people. And so I think the way to do that is through training and certification and credentialing. And I'll talk about, the needs, and as you can see, about 4.7 million new workers with post-secondary certificates. This information comes from the Georgetown University study. We have a lot of information that we use from Pathways to Prosperity, the Harvard study, and I recommend anybody that hadn't read either the Georgetown or the Harvard study to read those. They're pretty powerful. Next, please. And then why train? We look at that and that they might not be as prestigious, some of our certifications and credentials, and I'll use my friends that have given the presentations earlier. We're all in the same boat. They might not be as prestigious as a master's degree or some of the others, but the bottom line is we know that from folks here in our industry that they're better paying jobs. So what we have to do, and a big part of our job here at the center, is to change that image that it is a good pathway to prosperity. It is a way to get into a really good, fulfilling job. Next, please. And so these are some of those salaries, and I'll go through a lot of this stuff very quickly because I want you to be able to download this. I think you're going to have this available to everybody, Larry?
Yes.
And these are just numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and what we did was took those hourly salaries, made them annual, and then we put overtime and per diem, which our commercial industrial contractors, we just added an average there, and so you see some pretty significant salaries for our certified workforce. Next, please. So this is, the bottom line is the demand for skilled labor is increasing more than other positions. We see it all the time. I just came back from our Workforce Development Committee meeting in Dallas, and all of our big contractors are saying the same thing. We just don't have the trained workforce. We need more and more folks that have those skills and certifications. We're not talking about warm bodies here. We're talking about people that have been trained and certified. So if you go to the next. So when you look at this is really interesting, where when you look at the big economies of the world, when you look at U.S. and India, that in 2010, the difficulty has increased from 2010, 2011 of finding a trained workforce from 14% to 52%. So even with a down economy, people are having difficulty finding a certified employee to fill jobs. And we're seeing that more and more, and you're seeing that more in the developed countries, and you're seeing that in the U.S., and we're seeing that even with a downturn. companies, our construction companies are saying it more and more and more. They just can't find a skilled workforce. So it is about training, and it is about credentialing and certifying that craft worker, and that comes from the manpower group. That's a slide that I would recommend any of you to use as well. And then these are some of the pathway to prosperity quotes at 47 million job openings in a 10-year period. Nearly half of the workers need the post-secondary training. They pay more than a bachelor's degree. We see that all the time with our high level of apprentices. They have no college debt. What they do have is an opportunity to make a ton of money because they've been through an apprenticeship program. They were paid, they were earning while they were learning. And this is really, we now have some great data from the Georgetown group and also from Harvard that really supports career and technical education and post-secondary training, not necessarily a bachelor's degree track, but a credential certification licensing track. Next, please. And so when you look at this is Fales Management Institute. They do a lot of research for the Construction Users Roundtable. They use it for us. And you'll see that, these are the jobs. This is what's coming back. We've lost a lot of workers, and these are that you see in the carpenters, electrician, construction laborers, plumbers. They're just, literally hundreds of thousands of openings that will be expected within the next few years, and we're really concerned here at NCCER and our contractors that we just won't have the trained workforce to fill those demands. And 85% of the jobs today, you need a skill. You either need a degree, a certificate, a license. There are only 15% of the jobs are unskilled today.
Hey, Ed, this is Larry. Before we go on to the next slide, can you tell us approximately where HVAC technicians kind of fit within this spectrum? I
don't have the specifics on that, but and I'm just going to generalize because, we're trending here with all of our crafts that, and I'll say it through our training, is electrical, HVAC. Those are the biggest titles that we have training for. So, if there's a parallel between training and need and opportunity, HVAC is clearly in the top 5 of ours of demand. And then, just the Perkins 4, bridging that secondary, post-secondary gap, CTE programs, are serving as a pipeline to the community college. And we love that articulation opportunity for career and technical programs to go to the community college system and come out with those credentials and license. And for us, a lot of our programs, of course, are in the community college system, and then those folks can articulate out into industry and the workforce with a credential that's industry recognized that supports their craft needs. And then when you look at some of these, if you take a career and technical program, we all know this, that, the opportunities to acquire wealth are greater. If somebody had told me, 35 years ago when I got in the construction industry that you'd ever earn the kind of money that we're seeing in our craft workforce today, I'd have never believed them. But we see it regularly now that our craft professionals that are on the high end that are certified, are making 6 figures in a lot of our industrial plants and a lot of our heavy commercial groups. So this is a way to earn money, and you can see just taking a career and technical course in high school, over that $1,200, $1,400, $1,800 a year additional over a course of a lifetime, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year just for taking a class in high school that prepared you for the world of work. Very important to us. And so, you know, again, and we'll go through this very quickly, the Georgetown study, 43% of the young workers need more than the associate's degree. They earn more license certificates. Again, the NCCER credential is one of the gold standards within our industry to have that credential. And 31% of young workers with an associate degree earn more than with a bachelor's degree. So credential certification is where it's at for us. A small community college here in Gainesville that offers HVAC program, welding program, and a carpentry program. About 30% of the folks that are in those certificate-based programs at our community college already have a 4-year degree. They came back to get a credential so they could get a high-paying job. Next, please. And then when you look at this is where, you know, that unskilled labor, skilled labor, only 20% of the jobs in our country needs a 4-year degree. But the difference is from skilled and unskilled. You can see from 1950 to now, what's flip-flopped has been a skilled worker and unskilled worker, where there, again, only about 15% of the jobs are unskilled. 65% you have to have a skill, a certificate, some sort of validation. NCCER is certainly one of those that is used throughout the industry. Next, please. So we were established as a not-for-profit education foundation to address the workforce shortage. We're funded by the construction industry, founded by the construction industry to just do one thing, to help build a safe, productive, sustainable workforce of craft professionals. That's all we do here at NCCER. Next, please. And the big contractors that founded us, Bechtel Beacon, largest contractor in the U.S., about $20 billion worth of revenue a year. Fluor, $18 billion. And then most of the others are in that $1 to $10 billion a year range. Some are open shop, some are union. We're Switzerland. We don't care if it's an open shop or an organized labor group. We just want them to meet those industry standards and offer those credentials. And these are the folks that demand it. If you'll go to the next slide, please. Our board of trustees, as you can see, the bigger contractors in the U.S., as well as ExxonMobil and Shell and DuPont, they demand the NCCER Certified Plus credential, that you've taken the written and performance assessment for a specific craft. All of these folks here demand the NCCER, and they're, like I said, some of the larger contractors in the world. The Shaw Group is the nuclear power side. As you see, that most of the big boys are on there. So next, please. And then just go through that very quickly. You can look at the contributors that started the National Center. And there's another slide. Again, when you open that up, you'll see some of the other contributors. And it's everyone from associations to industry, construction, energy, heavy highway, etc. Manufacturers as well. And then the scope of our services, government, industry, education. We just signed a MOU with the shipbuilding industry, the Gulf State Shipbuilding Consortia, and the Masonry Contractors Association of America. They've all come on just recently for our certification and ability to train their workforce as well. And then when you look at the sponsors, when you see the different colors in here, some state departments of education sponsor, so that all the career and technical programs, I'll use North Carolina as an example, all of their programs for career and technical that pertain to construction are mandated that they're NCCER. They issued about 90,000 modules of completion last year. Georgia through the Construction Education Foundation, California, so that the energy academies, and so we're in all 50 states, and actually we're worldwide. We're in about 18 different countries, and now our certification, we have signed a partnership with EdExcel, and our partnership now is worldwide, and at the end of the month we have a large group from Colombia coming in. Brazil's been in, so we're anticipating that the worldwide credential for NCCER is going to be the gold standard, not only for the U.S., but internationally as well. Next, please. And then it's all for us about certification, but also the Automated National Registry. It's all paperless. It can track all the training records, all of the training certifications can come to us. Those training records come to us electronically through that accredited sponsorship, and then it goes back to those individuals and produces that portable credential, wallet card, etc. Next, please. And so the resources for us is that accreditation. All the training through NCCER has to be done through an accredited training sponsor. The instructor must be certified, has to use the industry-written curricula. Then we have our skills assessments for Exxon, Shell, DuPont. For the big industrial companies, we give about 60,000 of those a year. And then the credential certification, career and recruiting, resources, safety and management. All of those are resources that we also provide that support that curricula and support those credentials. Next, please. So how to get involved? You know, survived the downturn. We've kind of all struggled through it a little bit, but now you can develop the workforce through NCCER. A bunch of ways to do it is support craft training and career technical programs, community college. Of course, we're in the proprietary school market, apprenticeship programs, Associated Builders and Contractors, Associated General Contractors, but it's all about upgrade training, certification, supporting the emerging markets, and that's energy, infrastructure, et cetera. And then all of our green curricula, your role in the green environment, our solar, wind, all of the different sustainable energy curricula and certifications we have as well. Next, please. And then it's very simple. The process is through the accredited training sponsorship or accredited assessment centers. The sponsorship for training is through high schools, community college industry. On the assessment side, it's all industry. They're evaluating incumbent workers, new hires, folks that are on the job site, so that they can evaluate that skill set and document that skill. And like I say, for the petroleum industry, there's a thing called operator qualifications. You have to be certified, and to get on those big job sites, you have to have an NCCER credential. Next, please. And so the instructor certification, all sponsors have a master trainer, and all of the master trainers, it is a train the trainer program that we put on at NCCER. It's a traveling road show. It's all over the country. We do about 15 a year. And then that master trainer goes back to their company or their school. They identify the craft instructor, that journey level instructor, welder, plumber, pipe fitter, mason, what have you, and then identify the students, train that student, and then that student gets the NCCER credentials through that training site, or that master trainer is then the proctor and proctors those assessments for the industry side. So it gives two types of credential, a training credential or an assessment credential. All of it goes through that master trainer, craft instructor system that we provide. Next, please. And then, I know I got through a lot of that very quickly. Again, my name's Ed Pravat. It's epravat@nccer.org. Our manager here, Miriam Perez, and then your NCCER Pearson rep in California is Karen Keith. And I know, Larry, you work very closely with her. And the building on the right, we've just moved into our new headquarters here in Florida, a building designed and built by the Haskell Company, and in 270 days from time they started moving earth to we moved in. So again, the testament of a trained workforce that they can build a 32,000 square foot building in 270 days from start to finish. Any questions?
Ed, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll probably have most of our questions at the very end during our Q&A session. But yeah, thanks again, and congratulations completing your new headquarters.
Well, we appreciate it, Larry. Thank you. And thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Right. Next, we will have Dr. Al Kohler of SpaceTEC, which is one of the Centers for Advanced Technical Education supported by the National Science Foundation.
Larry, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, those of you on the West Coast, and good afternoon for those of you on the East Coast. It's nice to be a part of this. And I owe the opportunity to Larry, who contacted me a while back and said, would you join us? And I said, sure. And I know one of the first questions you're going to ask is, why in the world would a space operation be involved with facilities and HVAC? And I will tell you that space is the ultimate challenge for both of those things, if you think about it just for a moment. In space, that facility is all you have. And it's very, very complicated, and so it touches all of the things that you are going to deal with and talk about in terms of facility technicians. And HVAC is your lifeline. The environmental control system is a part of every operation, whether it's robotic or human-based, but for the human ones, it also involves the life support system. So it's a pleasure for me to be a part of this, and I'm going to ask you to man the slides for me, Larry, and just let's move on quickly through it. And I'll try very hard not to repeat some of what's already been said. Next slide.
Right.
That's a little agenda. We'll do an overview. We'll tell you a little bit about our certifications, and then we'll tell you why we're interested specifically in speaking to this group. Next slide, please. You'll notice that we have two different kinds of operations, the SpaceTEC operation and the CertTech operation. The SpaceTEC operation was founded in 2001. It became an NSF National Center of Excellence in 2002, so we're in our 10th year. We're headquartered at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and the host college is Brevard Community College. But we're at colleges now in 8 different states. I'll show you a map in just a minute, and we're about to be in 12 different states. And we are, in fact, the focal point for industry national skill standards for aerospace technicians. And we have the only national performance-based certifications for aerospace technicians in the country. Next slide. This is a layout of our current partnerships. And if SpaceTEC's about anything, it's about partnerships. Larry told you we're a National Science Foundation Center. And we are indeed. We have an external evaluation group called the National Visiting Committee. Those of you from colleges would know what that means. And also we have an external evaluator who comes in many times a year to kind of counsel us on where we're headed. I won't spend any time on this chart except to show you the breadth of the national infrastructure that exists. And we are now taking advantage of that as we move beyond aerospace to other fields. Next slide. This is a map of the country. You can see the different areas. The red dots are our partnering colleges. The blue pieces are our industry partners. We have a labor organization involved, the IAMIW out of Washington, D.C., and the white boxes are the really important ones. On that map, they show the proposed partnerships that are beginning to emerge as we have taken what we've learned about credentialing in the aerospace industry and begun to move out into other areas. Next chart, please. This is sort of my favorite chart. We call it the football chart because that's what it looks like. But that horizontal line across there is really important because above that line are all of what we'll call the traditional aerospace topics. And below that line are all of the other topics that might be of interest. And above that line is about 10%, if you will, and below that line are 90% of the activities that go on in this country. So we've been working for a long time in a very narrow and very deep area, and we're trying to take the information we've learned and the experience base and begin to take it outside aerospace to other areas of the country. All of our certifications are performance-based. They require a written examination, an oral examination, and a hands-on performance-based examination. Next slide, please. We want to talk a little bit about the certification program as it moves out from SpaceTEC into CertTech, and people ask, well, why did you even rename it? And we said, well, we have two programs and really kind of two brands. From the SpaceTEC side, we deal with aerospace technicians, and when we do that, we come under a whole series of regulations and rules administered by people like the State Department. A lot of people don't know that if you do anything in the aerospace industry, you're probably going to be regulated under munitions standards for the prohibiting of transfer of technology to countries that are not friendly to the United States of America. And so we, for example, have no foreign students in any of our programs. CertTech will not be limited in that way. It also is not limited to aerospace only. Next chart. So we're going to talk a little broader here. I'm going to switch gears and look mostly at CertTech. From the standpoint of both, there are few nationally recognized credentials for technicians, and of those that are nationally recognized, a very small percentage of those are performance-based. We think that's very, very important. In aerospace, we are replete with performance-based standards, with stand boards, peer reviews, demonstrations that are repeated over and over and over again on very short time cycles, usually 1 year or less, to show your competence if you haven't worked directly in that specific job for that period of time. This one repeats some of what you've seen before. Let's go to the next chart, please. If you're going to deliver a national performance standard-based certification, you have to have a national infrastructure. And that means lots of locations where you can administer performance-based testing, a computer-based internet written examination that can be done anywhere in the world, and you can read as well as I can. Trained and certified examiners are at the heart of such a thing, and we do in fact have a core of those as well, along with all the procedures, checklists, and so on that go along with that. Next chart, please. This is probably the heart of our certification program. It begins with what's called a DACM. Many of you know about developing a curriculum process. That's an industry subject matter expert process where you sit industry experts with technicians, with educators, and you pare down each job into the individual tasks and responsibilities, the tools, the attitudes, and the competencies that go along with them. And I won't drag you through all of this, but this will be in your package when you take a look at these slides themselves. This carries you all the way from concept, if you will, to the competencies, to the curriculum, and eventually to the certifications and how they're administered. All of our certifications are developed using this basic process. Next chart, please. One of the things that you get into are the levels at which you have to train. Those are called proficiency codes in our part of the world, and you can see that they exist in three different types: a subject matter level, a task knowledge level, and then a task performance level. And you can take specific examples. There's a couple at the bottom there, tethering tools and personal items. You'll see that in areas of construction, for example, where you're working at heights. In the space business, you see it almost everywhere because you don't drop tools inside a spacecraft and later on fly that in microgravity and find things floating in the air because you breathe everything that floats. So these become very important to us. Next chart, please. Every one of our questions is essentially based at a proficiency level. And if you're going to have a national certification program that's performance-based, you have to be able to provide the tools and materials and consumables and to manage those so that they are standardized, so that every candidate who takes a test anywhere in the country is given the same fair level of exposure and tested to the same standards everywhere the test is administered. Next chart, please. This is probably the most important chart for understanding where we are and where we're headed. On the left-hand side are the SpaceTEC certifications. They evolve all of them around a core with those 6 basic skill areas, subject matter areas that are covered in the football chart we looked at briefly earlier. We have a core certified aerospace technician. That's essentially an entry-level technician position. And what's important about that chart is the number 24 with a little red asterisk. All of those certifications under SpaceTEC are currently recognized by the American Council on Education for college credits. And that was really important to us because you remember I told you that we have the only national performance-based certification in the aerospace industry. So we had not only to deal with incoming new people, but we had to deal with thousands of current aerospace technicians, many of whom, believe it or not, have only a high school education. This was a major step forward for career development for those people. They could sit for an examination, show what they could do as well as what they know, and end up with the ability to take that into a college environment and earn essentially from that one exam a full year of college credit and move themselves forward. There are 3 concentrations: vehicle processing, composites, and manufacturing. All of those each carries their own designation and their own credits. And over on the CertTech side, what we've done is taken pieces of those now and begun to move into fields that are very closely related. Aerospace manufacturing is not significantly different from manufacturing in a whole realm of other environments. I like to tell people that very few communities have launch sites. Every community has a hospital or a medical facility, and in that medical facility there will be pieces of equipment and machinery that require calibration, test, operations, troubleshooting, repair, renovation, replacement. That's where all those technicians come in, and the skill sets go across the board. It's the same kind of things that a core SpaceTEC technician would need to know for aerospace: basic electricity, basic mechanical skills, hydraulics and pneumatics, and so on. Will go into that medical facility somewhere else in the world. So we're in the process of building the CertTech operation. Currently we have 2 active certifications: basic electricity and electronics, and composites, because those come directly out of the aerospace side. We've already conducted a DACM for facilities technicians, one for systems technicians, one for quality. You can see the triple asterisks. Those all have completed DACMs that are industry-based, and we're moving forward in certifications in all of those areas as well. Next chart, please. Just to give you some idea of how we do business, we do offer preparatory courses, and that's all they are. They are prep courses. We have qualification requirements for entering all of those examinations. They are essentially based on a combination of education and industry experience. We don't train. Certification organizations that do performance-based certs are separated from training organizations, so we avoid the conflict of interest, and we would expect to be able to qualify very soon for 17024 under the ANSI standard, and I congratulate our friends at NATE for having already done that. I think that's a major step forward in the right direction. We use Moodle, which is an open source software that mimics what you folks are using today, the Blackboard stuff. And if you go to the next chart, so we do our prep courses using Moodle, and we use, on our websites, we're using an open source that's called WordPress. And I would invite you to visit both of those websites, SpaceTEC and CertTech. You'll see that the SpaceTEC site is very well developed. It is the heart of our current dissemination operation for the National Resource Center for Aerospace Technical Education. The CertTech site is still under construction, relatively new, but it's going to move forward in the same way. Next chart, please. We also are dealing, as all of you are probably, with those social media, Facebook and YouTube, and we know that that's going to expand over time. We have a tremendous base of information that we're managing, and YouTube, for example, the SpaceTEC 11 channel on YouTube is replete with many small pieces of video that help to refresh a person's knowledge base in a whole series of areas on aerospace, and those will come along as well on the SpaceTEC side. Next chart, please. These next couple of charts are perhaps the most important as I wrap my piece up. If you're sensitive to what's going on in the world around you today, you know the economy is not in the best of shape, and the previous speaker, Ed, talked a lot about credentialing and why certifications and certificates are important. They're very important in what are now called stacked certificates, if you will, so that you have a career pathway that can be evolved all the way from the educational pathway through a certification to a job. And this is a chart from the Management Institute from the National Association of Manufacturing that shows how the SpaceTEC piece fits into a career pathway for aviation and aerospace technicians. I think we'll see much more of this as credentials become very, very important. It's pretty obvious to us that from an employer standpoint, you have to know what the person can do in addition to what they know. Not enough to know what you know, you also have to know what you can do. And that's what credentialing does for the employer as well as for the employee and the public. These kind of charts, I think, are going to become much more common, and the Department of Labor has focused on credentialing as a major step forward for filling those many millions of empty jobs that are predicted to occur. Next chart, please. And one of the things we're trying to do is work on the front end of the equation so that we can help people understand what their strengths and weaknesses are and help employers to screen either incoming new employees or existing incumbent employees for training operations. And we've taken some of those question banks and evolved what we call knowledge and skills inventories, which are surveys, typically a 60-minute survey with perhaps 70 questions across a broad range of skills, so that an individual can sit for that survey and come out with a different kind of a credential, an inventory, an index that shows where those skills are, and use that perhaps as part of the resume to move forward in a job application environment. Or an employer can use it to screen incoming employees so that they can immediately separate the ones that have already some skill levels in the areas they're interested in, or perhaps at least take the training dollar and divide it so that instead of training at one size fits all, as many do now, they will customize those training activities so that you don't train a guy who already has high electrical skills. In electrical, you'll put that person perhaps in the mechanical or hydraulic pneumatics areas. So the knowledge and skills inventory is a relatively new product that we're rolling out. It is not performance-based. It is all written question-based. And again, it's internet can be done anywhere in the world. Next chart, please. Last but not least, I just wanted to give you some idea of the breadth of the partnerships that are evolving as we move beyond SpaceTEC into CertTech operations across the country. You can read through those as well as I can. You'll see that it's quite broadly based. We have NASA endorsements for our credentialing for incoming cooperative students at the Laney Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, for example. We have the Federal Aviation Administration formal approval, safety approval for our SpaceTEC certification activities for aerospace technicians. We have the ACE approval for all of those certifications that are already existing that we talked about earlier. And it's important to us to broaden the base very, very soon. So if you have any interest at all in performance-based certifications in areas that do not currently have certifications, we're very interested in moving forward there. Obviously, you already have a fairly substantial HVAC background. It's not so clear where we would be headed in terms of buildings, maintenance and repair technicians, troubleshooting technicians, green technology, and those are areas that we have a lot of interest in. Last chart, please. Here's where we're headed next. We'll be rolling out some additional DACMs, as we've already told you. That's what we base our activities upon. We'll be pursuing some new partnering opportunities. We will host certification events at a number of partner locations, and the way we like to do that is to roll out pilot tests, and they're typically at no cost to our partnering institutions. We work through community and technical colleges and also in some industry areas where that's an appropriate thing to do. And we're looking at growing our base with the National Science Foundation. They have underwritten the initial SpaceTEC project operation this year with a supplement to our SpaceTEC activities, and we're hoping that we are able to grow that in the near future. And with that, I'll wrap my part up. Got you back a little bit on schedule, Larry, and stand for questions when it's time.
Thank you very much, Al. I appreciate it. Our final presenter is Vanessa Santos of the United States Green Building Council. She'll be talking about the LEED accredited professional O&M credentialing process. And I believe Vanessa is also quite closely involved with greening our secondary schools as well. So with that, Vanessa, please start your presentation.
Thank you, Larry. So I'll just, I'm going to be talking about LEED credentials. I'll actually be talking about the LEED AP O&M, which is our LEED accredited professional operations and maintenance. I'll also be talking about the LEED Green Associate credential, which is another probably less known credential that we have, but that's growing in popularity. And to do that, since our credentials are based largely off of the LEED rating system, actually entirely off of the LEED rating system, I'll be talking a lot about that as well. So just to sort of put LEED credentials into the context of the conversation that we've been having, and to understand their value. So we can really think of LEED credentials as the overarching or fundamental credential for green building that demonstrates that an individual knows how their specific work fits into this larger picture of buildings. So, specific technicians and professionals who work in a building or who work with buildings can achieve LEED credentials to show that, again, they understand the larger picture of what's needed to make a building run efficiently, and how their work sort of fits into there. So if you can just go to the next slide. So U.S. Green Building Council is, some of you probably know, is the nonprofit 501c3 organization that releases the LEED rating system. But as an organization, we engage a ton of different individuals and companies. We have membership at the national level. We have a little over 13,000 members, and that includes companies like building owners, end users, universities, colleges, real estate developers, and these individuals all, individuals within these companies all influence the LEED rating system. They all vote on the approval. As some of you may know, we're in the process of approving LEED 2012 right now, so if you can go to the next slide as well. So this map that's coming up shows our chapter network as well. We have 79 chapters. That's over 30,000 individual members within the chapters. So with the chapters and the individuals in the member companies, all of these individuals, when they're involved in committees that actually inform the LEED rating system, so it is an industry-driven rating system, and that is what informs the credentials that we put out as well. So next slide. So LEED, this is just an introduction to LEED. It provides the guidelines for developing and measuring high performance. The next slide. So LEED measures building performance in these 6 areas, which we have these are credit categories in LEED: sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, materials and resources, indoor environmental air quality, and then we also have a category for innovation and design to recognize, to give points for innovative technologies that buildings and project teams implement. Next slide. So it's important to realize, and again, I'm going to talk more about LEED AP O&M, operations and maintenance. So it's important to recognize that the LEED rating system does cover the entire life cycle of buildings. So we have the design and construction phase, and we have several rating systems that address specific needs that these specific types of projects would require. But then the difference is that with new construction rating systems, once you finish construction and you're at your final completion, you get your certification, your LEED certification, and that building will remain certified. No one can take that away. The difference with existing buildings, operations, and maintenance is that rates the day-to-day activity of buildings. So, buildings do have to be recertified every 5 years to maintain that certification. Next slide. So this just shows sort of the reach of LEED, 8.4 billion square feet, and this is across all of the rating systems. This is slightly outdated. It's over this now. This is from July 2011, as you can see. But it shows really how prominent LEED has become in the market. Next slide. And this just says, shows again the sort of growth of green building. By 2013, green buildings are going to support nearly 8 million workers, and this is in a range of occupations from, architects and construction managers to truck drivers and cost estimators. So, this is sort of speaks to the importance of, again, this credential that just demonstrates that the individual knows how their specific trade, how their specific profession really fits into this larger green building picture. Next slide. So these are our LEED credentials. We have the LEED Green Associate, which is, covers the basic concepts of green building. Prerequisites are just that you have to be working in the sustainability industry or have to have taken some sort of course in green building or sustainability. Then we have our LEED AP, or LEED Accredited Professional, and this is where, this is the more technical credential, and there are different specializations for each. So you'll see the O&M is our operations and maintenance credential, and these demonstrate an actual ability or knowledge of how these concepts are actually implemented on a project team. And our LEED AP fellow is our newest credential, and it's a pilot really right now, but you have to have gone through the LEED AP to get to the LEED AP fellow. Next slide. So we have over 177,000 building professionals across all areas of practice who've become LEED credentialed professionals, and that's all credentials that we offer as well. Next slide. And I don't want to, talk about this too much because we've already discussed, the other presenters have already mentioned this, but we did a recent study with McGraw-Hill Construction on just the value of credentials, and one of the things that we found, 71% of hiring decision makers maintain that it increases competitiveness. Next slide. And then 85% of LEED credentialed professionals, we do regular surveys with our credential holders, and they say that their credential gives them a competitive edge in the market. Next slide. So this just, I sort of went over this already, but it talks about the different levels. That LEED Green Associate is the 200 level. It's an understanding level. That we have, USGBC also creates education courses that, support those individuals wishing to take the LEED Green Associate credential, but it is really just an understanding of green building, an understanding of the LEED rating system, all LEED rating systems, and of the core concepts and the strategies that project teams can take to create a green building. And then the LEED AP is really the level of implementation, and that's where each LEED AP credential really gets into the details of the rating system, exactly what needs to be done to achieve specific points and how many points will be achieved by project teams depending on what strategies they utilize. Next slide. So we can pass this one as well. I already talked about that. And we can pass this again, moving forward. So no matter what credential you have, whether it's the Green Associate or an AP credential, we do require our credential holders to do continuing education. And depending on what credential you have, it requires a different number of hours, but there are a variety of ways that individuals can maintain their credential, and it can take the form of courses, live presentations, self-study programs. You can read through that, working on projects. So there are, again, a variety of ways to maintain that credential. Next slide. So, yeah. So as I mentioned before, the LEED O&M, LEED AP O&M, really what it shows is that you understand the LEED existing buildings rating system, and it shows that you understand the big picture of how to run and maintain on a day-to-day basis an energy efficient and high-performing building. So, what you find when you look at the EB, for short, existing buildings rating system, is that a lot of the efforts to currently run buildings efficiently, LEED just really measures a lot, puts a measurement on a lot of those. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see things like green building procurement. Those are all covered by specific credits that actually just measure the performance in those areas. Next slide. And again, if you look at the rating system, the LEED EB rating system, you'll see that the long list of credits really can just be seen as falling into these standard categories, which are categories that building managers will usually consider when they're looking at how to best run their building. Next slide. So before a building goes for LEED EB certification, system changes and upgrades may or may not be necessary. So, for example, for LEED EB, there is a prerequisite that requires, an Energy Star rating of 69 or above. So, depending on the current system, you may or may not need to make changes to the building prior to certification. Next slide. So a big focus for EB, once you make those system changes, once you fulfill all of the prerequisites, policies and procedures, and implementing those are really what a lot of the credits in EB talk about. So, this can include a green cleaning policy, a purchasing policy. There are policies on providing trainings for maintenance personnel and for building operators, and these, again, all give, having these policies all give credit towards getting LEED certified. And what this slide shows, and I mentioned this in the beginning, but the difference with LEED for existing building certification is, compared to the new construction, is this performance period that you do have to track. Once you put those policies in place, you have to track to make sure they're having the impact that they're intended to have. So, the tracking process can be anywhere from 3 to 24 months. You need at least 12 months of energy data. The important piece is that all of the performance periods need to end within 3 months of each other, so around the same time frame. So next slide. So this is just a list of some of the some of the things that are measured throughout the performance period. And again, just to not to belabor the point a little bit too much, but I did want to, talk about the rating system because that is really what the credential shows. So it's not, it doesn't so much show that for a specific profession within the building, that you can do your specific trade. It shows that you know how it connects to the bigger picture of running and operating a building efficiently. Next slide. So we do have, as I said, U.S. Green Building Council has developed education resources. That we have our Green Building Operations and Maintenance Reference Guide, and we have a reference guide for every rating or every credential, and that is a primary study tool for people going for their LEED AP credentials. GBCI, Green Building Certification Institute, is our sister organization that actually does the actual certification of buildings and the credentialing of professionals. So you can go to gbci.org to get more information on, sort of how to sign up for an exam, and USGBC.org and CenterForGreenSchools.org will have a lot of the educational resources to support that. Next slide. So I'm sort of doing this backwards, but the reason why, just to give a little bit more of an introduction to myself, the reason why I'm presenting from USGBC is because I, again, work at the Center for Green Schools, and we are launching what we're calling Community Green, which is a program to support community colleges in bringing green building credentialing opportunities and education opportunities to the campus. So, this is a program we're launching in May, and we're developing resources to provide to colleges to make this more accessible for them to be offering to students. And one of those is a free year of membership to USGBC to access all of those educational materials that I talked about, and the courses that we're putting together that can easily actually just be adopted into a community college curriculum. So again, that's my contact information. You can email me if you're interested in being on the just sort of contact list for when we roll out this program in the beginning of May. I can definitely do that. Or if you have any questions about LEED or any of our other work, you can get a hold of me. And that's all I have. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Well, among our 5 presentations, I think that just a very kind of rich array of issues presents itself to us, and maybe just as a point of clarification for Vanessa, in one of the charts you showed regarding LEED O&M and the different categories, right? Were the sizes of the circles indicative of, I don't know, the level of importance in terms of how that issue relates to O&M?
That's a good question. They are not in that, I'm looking back at it now. So the LEED rating system, the credits are weighted, and some credits in some categories are given a higher point value than others based on research that we've done that we've prioritized. For example, a lot of the credits in energy and atmosphere that affect climate change and that affect emissions reductions have a higher weighting than materials and resources. So actually I'm looking at the graph now, and that isn't accurate as to how they're weighted. But there is definitely a weighting to the credits when you look at the LEED rating system, and you can see that the energy and atmosphere category, for example, has a total possible points of 35, whereas if you look at materials and resources, so that includes a sustainable purchasing policy, for example, there are only 10 possible points in the materials and resources category. So we do give a weighting to certain strategies over others.
Right, and how is that weighting determined?
It's also, I don't know the exact process, but it is also through a similar process as to how the rating system is developed, and that's through our industry members. It's people who are involved in subject matter expert committees. It's through research on basically, you know, what impact each strategy will have on the environment, on communities. So yeah, it's through a pretty collaborative process. I'm not sure exactly what that process is, but it is always reevaluated. And for LEAD 2012, it's being reevaluated, and you'll see that you know, there might be some shift as to what credits and what strategies get a higher weighting than others.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and I'd like to go ahead and just share one or two questions that were typed in, and then we'll open the floor again for more questions. This question was posed to Dana at NATE, and the question is, has NATE assessed the degree to which ANSI 17024 accreditation is valued by technicians and consumers? So, Dana, would you like to repeat your reply to that?
Yes, and I said to Cynthia, the average consumer will probably not know what ANSI is, even though there are many organizations all over the world who, you know, have met the ANSI requirements. But it has really put the final stamp of approval for us. The ANSI accreditation is valued by other entities, and it will help when applying for RFIs, RFPs, state agencies when it comes into, you know, maybe licensing issues. Some states may decide to go with the certification based on just those requirements. So we haven't fully measured it because, of course, we just became ANSI accredited in December, but, you know, it is a really good thing for us to have achieved, and there will be a lot of support now that we have that accreditation.
And Al, following on that, I believe you mentioned in your presentation also about pursuing ANSI accreditation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, we will be doing that. There are a number of accrediting organizations worldwide that look at personnel certifications. ANSI is the formal USA representative to the ISO organization, International Standards Organization. And that accreditation is right at the top of the list. I congratulate Nate for that piece of work. And what's important in that is that accreditation is for the process that's used. It looks at all kinds of things, how you qualify candidates, how you maintain the testing system, including psychometrics, how you look at recertification timeframes, how you refresh the tests, how you tie it back to the curriculum, how that ties back to the job market. All of that is part of that ANSI standard. It's a very, very, comprehensive is probably the best word. It's a very comprehensive standard to meet, and anybody who tries will have a challenge in front of them, but when you finish, it's really a very worthwhile thing to do.
So what about some of our other presenters on the call today? Is the ANSI accreditation also something you're pursuing, especially if you're seeking national recognition for your programs?
Larry, this is Ed with NCCER. We've gotten ANSI accreditation also, and I agree, it is a very rigorous and comprehensive system. But we've done that, and we felt it was important to do that with our crane, our rigger, and our signal person, and they're all ANSI certified, just to give one additional level of credibility to those programs.
And this is Renee Tomlinson from HVAC Excellence. Boy, I certainly can't top the response that Al had. That was a perfect explanation, because yes, the ANSI accreditation is quite a process, and anyone who has obtained that credential has done an extensive amount of work throughout the processes and ensuring everything adheres to certain standards and such. Having said that, yes, HVAC Excellence is pursuing the the accreditation as well. So I think all of the industry organizations are all headed in the direction to ensure their credentials are being recognized.
Yeah, USGBC has also been accredited, ANSI as well. Just throw that out there.
Given that the pursuit of that accreditation seems to be universally recognized by all of you, does it make sense then that there might eventually evolve some perhaps a legal requirement that certain types of building technicians, if not all of them, be subject to an examination or a certification process? Or would there be potentially some pushback, say from industry, on something like that? Maybe I shouldn't say industry, but perhaps, I don't know, maybe it would come from, say, a building owner.
Larry,
go ahead. I apologize.
Oh, no, please.
This is Jerry Weiss from HVAC Excellence, and I happen to just be listening in. First of all, as far as pushback is concerned, let's start out with the main thing as to whether or not we believe it's going to become mandated. Now, personally, I don't believe that it will be mandated. I personally believe it's probably a bad thing to be mandated. It affects the openness of the marketplace and the concept of a free market, even in accreditation, and whether or not an individual has the right to work, accredited, certified, or otherwise. So I have my doubts that that's going to really occur. I think there'd be a huge legal problem there in the long run unless the government at the federal level steps in and has a very, very valid reason to be able to establish that, as they did in, let's say, the EPA exams for refrigerants, the 608 and 609 program, where at least it was about stratospheric ozone depletion. In this particular case, I have extreme doubts that that's going to occur.
Great. And Al, you also wanted to comment on that question?
Well, I was gonna suggest that from my perspective, at least from my personal perspective, it's more important for me to understand what the employer wants at this point, and that's where I would begin. You avoid, and I agree with the gentleman who just spoke, the issues that you avoid there when you're trying to mandate are issues that are legal, political in nature. They're fuzzy and tough to deal with. Employer demands will drive what credentialing comes into the marketplace and what level it needs to be at. And I don't know of any good credentialing system that doesn't add cost. They all cost something. The question is whether they also add value. And organizations like ANSI help to, I think, balance the value side, I guess. But the basics, the market is driven by the employer and the need to credential people to do the job properly. I was in a meeting 2 weeks ago when Roy Swift from ANSI spoke about 17024 and the credential itself, and he made a really interesting point. He said a lot of people think that you credential employees, people, for career development pathways. So that's a mistake. What you're really doing is credentialing people to assure the employer that those people can operate safely and effectively and do quality work. And if you look at it through that lens, it takes on a different meaning.
I would like to add something to Dr. Kohler's comments. In reference to ANSI, ANSI is not the sole provider of ISO 17024 accreditation in the United States. There is also the International Accreditation Service, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of ICC, the International Code Council, that also provides it currently. There are a couple of others who are entertaining where the possibility of providing accreditation in that area. So ANSI is an important name, of course, but it is not the sole provider as it stands right now.
You're absolutely right. There are probably at least 4 or 5.
Thanks for clarifying that, Jerry. Now, I know we got off to a late start, and it is a little over our initial 2-hour time limit, but I would like to just open the floor to any questions. And at this point, hey, if you just want to chime in over the phone, that's fine. Just please just identify yourself and your school or industry affiliation. No question? Well, I think I would like to just ask one other question, and maybe it goes back to some of the workforce data that Ed was showing us. If I remember your chart correctly, Ed, the area of great need would be, say, in electrical. Is that right? That seemed to have really caught my attention.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Through our training programs, electrical is the number one, clearly. But, for us right now, the thing in our industry is everybody's saying you can't have enough welders. So, when you're looking at the skill sets needed in our industry, electrical, welding are clearly up there in the top, handful with welders right now because of the turnaround. They're probably, I would say, the number one need right now as welders, and then probably electrical, electricians, EST, that whole genre, if you will.
And, even though I said I was only going to ask one question, I can't resist but ask another one. All right, so, during the course of a career for a building system technician, right, and given the complexity of buildings, how likely is it that an individual may need to pursue multiple certifications? I mean, we've certainly seen that among many professionals, like architects and engineers. Of course, there's also the cost and time associated with pursuing these additional certifications. So, again, any thoughts on that?
This is Renee from HVAC Excellence. I would say my opinion at this point is that the likelihood of multiple certifications is likely, only because there is no overarching legislation or a mandate on specific certifications. So I do believe that as long as there are certifying bodies and programs being built, the likelihood that multiple certifications will be needed and or available to technicians as they move up to high performance building analysts would probably be likely.
And this is Vanessa from USGBC. I think I made this point in my presentation, but most of our accredited professionals do have other certifications or other credentials. As I said, at least from the perspective of what the LEED credential offers, it doesn't take the place of some of the other certifications, but is just something that can make those professionals and those technicians stand out as someone who, again, understands the larger perspective of how to operate a building or how to build a new building efficiently and with LEED standards.
Right, and having said that, Vanessa, yeah, I noted during your presentation that there are performance timelines for a building being recertified as a LEED existing building, whatever the various rating might be, gold, silver,
right.
platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Right. At this point in time, is your system the only one in the U.S. that addresses building performance recertification? You know, as opposed to individual technician or, you know, accredited professional.
Right. Yeah. I think it might be the only one that talks about recertification, and it's even fairly new for us to talk about recertification and to focus more of our energy on existing buildings, since it is, you know, it is definitely a space that we need to address if we're going to be talking about green buildings. So yeah, I mean, I'm not actually sure if it's the only one that talks about recertification, but it is definitely a new topic for us, and it's been received pretty well. And I know that you know, it just sort of makes sense when we're talking about existing buildings. Again, we're talking about you know, the day-to-day, how your building runs day-to-day, and as technology, you know, advances and the industry gets more, you know, moves up to be more sustainable just by standards. We want to make sure that the LEED certification system and LEED professionals, LEED accredited professionals, are sort of a step up and are always sort of pushing what the standard is for how to build efficiently.
Again, many thanks to all of you. Have a great weekend. If you have any other questions, I'm glad to, again, distribute contact info so you can follow up with the various presenters today. So thanks again.